And that's again where a wealth manager like Bernstein can be helpful, is by quantifying the value of these kinds of planning decisions. So here's what I've done. On the left in scenario A, I've quantified what if the business owner does none of the charitable or estate planning prior to the transaction. They sell their business, live off of the proceeds for the next 30 years. Well, based on the way the estate tax law is written today, that means their kids are going to have to write a check for $23.2 million to the IRS for estate taxes at their death. Now, layer in the planning steps left to right. I started in scenario B just with the charitable piece. So if they were to make that $2 million contribution into the donor advised fund, well, over the course of the next 30 years, it's going to make grants year after year to the charities that they care about. Let's say it pays out 5% of its assets each year. Well, if I add up all of those annual grants plus what's left in the donor advised fund 30 years from now, that $2 million contribution today is going to accomplish $8.6 million worth of good to charity. However, that does cut into the kid's inheritance a little bit, to the tune of $3.1 million. So how do you overcome that? Well, let's just go all the way to the right, scenario D. If they do the annual gifts after the transaction and this sale of the half interest in the equity rollover piece, now the kids get both the teal and the purple. So even after essentially accomplishing $8.6 million worth of good for charity, the kids still get $14.3 million more after estate tax than if they had done no planning whatsoever. Again, the whole point over here is if you're likely selling your company for a price that's going to be well above what you need to cover your own lifestyle, and you may well be subject to a big estate tax bill down the road, there might be a window of opportunity to do some additional planning. So you definitely want to have that conversation before you go ahead and sell the company and the wire hits, and then you wonder, well, what should I do now?
Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications about new videos and interviews. And introduce yourself in the comments. Are you a buyer or a seller?